Hey everyone, welcome back to this channel. It's been a minute, but that's because I don't like making content if I don't want to and if I don't have anything to talk about. But I have just finished interlocking my hair for the past, 7-8 hours, and my arms are tired. But I want to, while I'm in this hair mode, trim my hair because I have a lot of locks that have ridiculous amounts of hair at the ends, and it's kind of the type of hair that I would continually wrap around the lock. You may have heard me talking about that, how I would often slide the hair up the lock and then wrap one little strand around the end. But the fact of the matter is, some of these ends are just not going to go into the locks. They're just not going to. They're stragglers. They don't want to cooperate. And I'm tired of it because it looks, it's not the look I'm going for. I think if they were more consistent, if there was more of them and they were more uniformly curly, more uniformly actually at the ends, because some of them are sort of on the side. It's just really, it's a whole thing. And I finally, this week, I challenged myself to wrap it a whole lot less. And I was like, okay, maybe I've just been messing with it too much. And if I leave it alone, they will naturally start locking in. But that's just not the case, as you can see. And so right now I'm going to go ahead and do some trimming. So this is my hair right after interlocking it. You can kind of see a little bit of a lock tour with this. Hair's definitely gotten so long. One of the reasons I also was holding off on trimming the ends is because sometimes when I have my interlocking needle, I like to be able to have some hair to kind of wrap around the end of the needle. So yeah, you pull this hair through and then you've got this little bit of hair to wrap around and up like that, so it makes a loop so the needle doesn't pull off. However, I just don't think that that's worth it because there's a lot of hairs that don't have that, and I'm able to interlock all of them. So I would just prefer for there to not be these poofy little, see for example, this, it's oh cute, it's curly, but it's sticking out of the side of the lock. It's not even at the end. Yeah, it's sticking out of the side. So there's no helping that. I don't feel like dealing with them anymore. They're too grown for this at this point. Let's see, how long have I had my locks now? 27 months. I feel like I'm talking about a toddler because that's what people love doing until they get to be 2 years, right? Then they stop doing that, then they do just years. I don't know. I don't have a toddler, but I do have these locks and they need to be trimmed. I will clip a few just to show you how I do it and then probably come back to this. Another update that I just want to kind of throw out there in case anyone needs tips on this is it's summer. It's very hot. I have continued to swim with my locks and I do not braid them when I go swimming. Typically what I'll do is just, actually, I'll just show you. I do something basically a ponytail or pigtails, but then I'll kind of layer up the scrunchies or hair ties or whatever you call them. And then I'll maybe do one more at the end. And that just keeps my hair all together. So that way, I'm not gonna do the other side because I'm not going swimming right now. I'm about to clip this hair, but this just kind of helps so my hair isn't just all over the place. And because it does get heavier when it's wet. I think it would also be fine to not do any of this at all. It'd probably just be fine. I'm just so used to having it contained when I'm swimming that I go for a quick fix containment so that way I don't have to worry about braiding it and then unbraiding it. And then I try and just rinse my hair out after I get out of a pool so that way there's just not a ton of chlorine in my hair because you don't want that. If you know you're gonna wash your hair right after, for sure, then you probably don't need to do that rinse, but I think it's good regardless, just so your hair isn't sitting with the chlorine in it for any extended period of time. All right, let's just get to the clipping then. So what I like to use is a cuticle clipper is what I believe these are. I think a regular nail clipper would be fine too. This one actually isn't that bad, but I will go ahead and give it a little trim anyway. So that's all I removed, is just the piece that was not getting into the lock because we're just not about that anymore. These locks should know better by now, and they don't. So the time has passed for them to get it together. The hair strands rather, not the locks themselves. Okay, so this is a grave offender here. This is just, what's going on with this? It's had so long to get in with the rest of the lock. I combined my locks for the second time last year in June. So it's been a year since Actually, it was at the end of May, so it's been over a year since I made the final combination of my locks. So these little hairs, these bunches of hairs, they've had their time, and yet here we are. So I'm gonna get in there and boop. I don't know why I made a boop sound. There's one more hair that's just hanging on for dear life. Nope. All right, and that's pretty much the process. So I'm gonna go ahead and turn this off and finish this and maybe come back at the end and show you the finished results, because let's be real, no one wants to sit here and watch me clip a bunch of hairs. Like, it's literally, you get it. All right, I'll be back. Just popping in for a quick update to say that I switched to my toenail clipper just because, I don't know, I feel like it's a little bit sharper, a little bit stronger to be able to clip the hair. So I guess I'll show one of those and then go back to just doing that off camera. So there's a little hair. Carefully find the end. Don't want to cut into the actual lock part. And then snip. That's it. All right. I'll see you in a minute. All right, I'm back. Thankfully, that didn't take too long, and it also lined up perfectly with the end of the podcast I was listening to. It's I Can Explain with Sean Lusk and Brianne Williamson. In case you're interested, it's a really funny podcast. They do like LGBTQ plus topics, but also it's just kind of like a comedy and like two friends like having a good time, being really silly, lots of inside jokes. It's a highly entertaining podcast, and there's lots and lots of episodes if you are the type of person that loves having just like lots of great content. Yeah, and it's Pride Month, so support queer creators. And of course, remember to support queer creators and LGBTQ plus people in general all year long, especially protect trans people. I'll put a couple links for education and support in the description. And remember, this is a queer-friendly space. Only kindness and support in the comments, please. Thank you. Anyway, this is my hair when I've clipped all the ends. I definitely like it a lot better. We'll see how I feel about that next time I have to interlock. But like I said, I think it's going to be fine because I have lots of locks that didn't have those scraggly ends. And I even tried pretty intentionally to not use the scraggly ends this time, even on the ones that did have it. So I could kind of like test the waters. And I think it went okay. I think the thing is that with the ends not being skinny, you have less room to pull the lock through the base, which in some ways could be good because that means that I can't make it too tight. There was at least one lock this time around where I had to just be like, okay, this kind of like thicker end plus the needle is not going to go through this space. It's just going to have to be a little bit looser than I was expecting, and I will let it keep growing out, doing its thing, and interlock it again the next time, just as, you know, one does. I hope this was helpful as far as like, okay, when should I trim these locks? The answer is when you realize that they're not going to lock in that scraggly hair at the end, just go for it. I mean, even if it was eventually going to lock, it wasn't really worth it for me anymore to be wasting my time wrapping the hair around the ends. Did I miss one? Okay. Just get in there real quick. There we go. Anyway, if you like my videos, you can go ahead and like and subscribe. But yeah, I do some lock content, some content about reading and books because I love that. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Until next time.